All right, classes, welcome back to English 1301. Uh, Let us talk about what's been happening, where we are, our upcoming deadlines, etc. Class, one of the things that I'm doing and continuing to do is grade your memoir portfolios. I'm grading those 7 days a week, and I've seen some really good work. Combination class of A minus essays all the way to F's with everything in between. So there's been A minus essays, B plus essays. There's been B essays, B minus, C plus, C minus. Today I had a D plus, a D minus, and a D and failing essays. So one of the things when you get those back is continue class to look over there. I took a lot of time grading these, and so take time looking over my comments. Um, I will only grade an essay until it earns its F, and then if it earns its F, I'm out of it. But it'll be well justified why it earned its F. Okay, so look over those, look over my comments, and then if you need help, once again, the help is here. Make sure and go to the Writing Center. If you have a family member that can look over sometimes your work and know this stuff, just as long as you're doing it yourself and you're learning to improve from your mistakes. All right. So I marked all those errors. Now, what's going to happen in about a week or so after I get all of those back, um, I will post a lecture where I talk about aspects of those essays. I'll talk about grammar. I'll give you examples. I'll talk about things like incomplete sentences. I'll talk about run on sentences. I'll talk about punctuation errors that I saw. I'll talk about formatting, which I've already talked about before, and all the aspects that I saw in the essays. But with that said, class, I've read some good work and I've read some really memorable essays. So A minus to F, and I never grade on a curve. So once again, a student will get what they deserve, and then we'll post that lecture that also talks about some of my abbreviations for grading. So that'll be coming up. Class, and if you need to make adjustments on your portfolios, I've let you know, and make those and get it back to me. As you can see, I generally get back to a student within a couple of days, and like I said, I'm on top of this. 7 days a week I am grading the portfolios. Very good. So let's talk about your deadlines coming up. Class, you are going to have a deadline for me for the profile essay. Let's first talk about the two classes that I'm teaching, that the section number is 11924 and class 11941. Excuse me, class. So, according to the course policies and calendar, that essay for those two classes is going to be due in 2 weeks. Approximately October 13th, you're going to turn that in. Now, when you turn in this essay on the 13th for those two classes, let's quickly go and look at once again the course policies and calendar for my sections 12699, 11944, and 12092. My complete online classes that aren't hybrid. And we are going to turn in, once again, this essay on the 19th. All right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you get about 6 extra days because of being a Tuesday, Thursday class. So that'll be turned in on the 19th. So remember those deadlines. And remember, once again, to move ahead once again with swiftness and with steadiness. So we've got some time, class, but time goes by quick. When you turn in these portfolios, you're going to turn them in the same way that you did your memoir, through Blackboard messages. now what I'd like for you to do, you can just turn each document in separately to Blackboard messages. Name them: first draft, final draft, and class writing center verification. So just 3 items: first draft, name it; final draft, writing center verification. Boom, boom, boom. And then I hunt it down. All right. Your essay is going to be just like the memoir, 700 to 1,000 words. 700 to 1,000 words. Formatted exactly how I'm helping you with formatting this semester. Modern Language Association formatting for college level essays. And I've been working with students. I saw a student today. A student sent me an essay. They'd done a rough draft. They'd done a writer-centered verification. I'm like, cool. Looked like they got some help. I'm here to help. And then I went to grade the essay, and the whole essay was centered. It wasn't justified left, and I couldn't grade it. Another essay I graded today was single spacing. But rather than take a bunch of points off, penalize a student, I simply kicked it back to them and said, make these adjustments, then send it back, and I'll grade it, right? And I'll give you, I don't want to start taking off points unnecessarily. So, class, get it together, go back over correct essay formatting that I gave you and that I lectured on before. It is there. And it shows you exactly what a college level essay should look like. I gave you that format. I lectured on that format. I showed you that format. So I'm not going to do it again. But I'm going to help you if you need that help. So, class, we've talked about deadlines. We talked about, once again, my video coming on talking about what I saw in the memoirs, talking about grammar, talking about sentence structuring, talking about, once again, punctuation. That's going to be coming up. Now, let's talk about the profile that's coming up, all right? So you can see from the handouts that you've had what we're doing here. I've sent you 3 major handouts in regards to what we're doing. Class, this first one on Blackboard, 220 to 228, talks about the profile, talks about what we're doing here. And what we're doing here, class, is we're once again trying to bring basically a person, place, or activity vividly to readers, vividly. And then in this handout, we had this fantastic essay in here as an example of a great profile of Dr. Susan M. Love, which was written by Molly O'Neill from the New York Times. Okay? And in that, study that, because that's what you're going to do for me. That's the type of writing you're going to do for me. Do I want you to be Molly O'Neill of the New York Times? No. Just like in the memoirs, I didn't want you to be Annie Dillard or Gary Solto, but these are writers we learn from, right? I learn from. Once again, as I mentioned before to you, I'm a student. I'm a student in the writing game because I'm still writing every day. And, I'm trying to come up. So I'm just like you. I'm a student, but I'm also a professor. So, class, Molly O'Neill, A Surgeon's War on Breast Cancer. Study that. That is what you are going to do for me. You're going to write a profile. I'm going to help you with that now. Okay? Then, class, also, when I sent this over Sunday night, this is a fantastic essay. It's a simplified essay from a student. This is Betsy Buffo's interview with an artist. This is a 1301 student class. It's a short essay, like you're going to write for me, 700 to 1,000 words. Okay. It's not a perfect essay, but it's very good. This is what you're going to do for me. Okay. And then this last set of handouts, about a 10-page handout on creating a profile. All right. So you look over what's scheduled on the course policies and calendar. You do that homework. You keep moving ahead, and you should be in good shape. Now, once again, let's talk a little bit about, say, for example, Betsy Buffo's interview with an artist. She is a English 1301 student. She had to write a profile. Okay? So, let's just talk about what she did, because what she did is you're going to do. First of all, you can't do a family member. You have to get out of your comfort zone, and I'm going to give you a lot of possibilities that you could do today, but not a family member. We see that Betsy Buffo went to a cafe. She's a young woman, and interviewed a young man. Okay? She did what you're going to do, and this is what you're going to do. You're going to write out 10 questions ahead of time. You are going to conduct your interview with the person that you're interviewing. You are going to, I'm looking around for my journal. Hold on, class. One of them I know I brought in here somewhere, I think. Yeah, here it is. You are going to sit down. I don't want to make this class impossible. So what you do is you have to interview somebody for 1 hour. In that 1 hour, you should be able to get all the information you need, for this essay. 1 hour. And set up about 10 questions. And then, you'll want to get things like, of course, the basics. Where did you grow up? How did you grow up? Who are your parents? How old are you? Are you married? Do you have kids? What high school did you go to? Once again. And then you'll find the focus of your profile on how you're going to focus this person, what you're going to do. But the first thing you're going to do is you're going to sit down with them. You're going to write 10 questions out ahead of time that can get them talking. And then as soon as they start talking, you have 1 hour to get your interview. When they're talking, class, what you're doing is you're going to be writing down their answers nonstop. Okay? And that's where we get the essay from. Nonstop. They're answering and you're writing, and you're writing, and you're writing. You're answering. And it's challenging, but it's good, especially if you've never done it before. It's fascinating. You're asking them questions. They're telling you the answers. You're trying to get it down. Because class, if you don't take notes, it's like I've lectured before in class. If you don't take notes, you have nothing. All right? Because you can't remember. Or you'll have nothing in life. It's like that's why the importance of, once again, note-taking. So, you're asking the questions. They're answering. And while they're answering, you're observing them. And then you're writing down their answers. Right? Notes, 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 notes. And as I mentioned, class, or will mention, what we're doing here is we're observing, we're interviewing, asking questions, and we're note-taking. And these are, once again, skills that you use your whole life, no matter what job you get into. The power of how do we observe what's going on around us? And then How do we ask questions of other people to let them know we're interested in them, to get them to talk? And then the beautiful thing is, class, once they start talking, you have control. You'll start it, you'll stop it, you'll get them to move on to other questions, to answer. It's fantastic. And then these people will, once again, class, tell us about their lives. And you will, in the end, class, you will take the raw material that you have received from your interview. It should be pages and pages. And once you get that done, then you'll sit down and I'll talk about, once again, you're going to write the profile for me. Okay? And one of the ways, class, when you have all your notes done, I'm going to do what they told me, and an old journalism professor showed me in a journalism class at the university back at Cal State Long Beach, where I went. Take all your notes. I still do this nowadays when I do interviews, and if I have to write a profile or any type of writing I'm doing, I'll take all my notes, and then I'll start thinking, how am I going to focus this? What do I want to focus on? And then an old professor one time told me, well, she said, find out the most interesting thing that person said, and then start your essay. So let's see if I can pull something out of my head. One time when I was on assignment, a long time ago, I came into the office out there in the South Bay of Los Angeles. I was with a paper called The Daily Breeze, and my boss said, Welsh, we got an assignment for you today. I said, what is it? They said, go to Torrance. You're going to interview a guy. Just sit down in his home. And you're going to write a profile on him. First, you're going to interview him. And all we know about him is that he owns 400 baseball caps. All right. So, kind of fascinating, right? Not a heavy news story, not a big thing, but somebody has 400 hats, baseball hats. So, I knew ahead of time to go in and ask, what was your first hat? What's your most beloved hat? When did this obsession first start? Have other people given you hats? What's the most money you ever spent for a baseball cap? Do you ever have dreams of baseball caps at night? Once again, are you married? This guy was. Does your wife think you're crazy for having this many caps? Do your relatives support you? Where did you go to high school? Once again, all these things to get the guy talking. All right. So, I went back to the paper. I interviewed him for about an hour. I took a ton of notes. Went back to the paper. I started writing the body of the story of the profile of this guy. And I was having problems with my lead, with the opening line. And finally it came to me that the opening line was, hats off to Steve Shriver of Torrance, California, period. Boom, we're in it. One line, we're in it. Hats off, to Steve Shriver of Torrance, California, period. Next paragraph. Over the past 30 years, Shriver, who still works for Southern California Edison, has remained obsessed about hat collecting, period. And then boom, a quote from him. Let the quotes carry the paper. I can't believe it's been 30 years since I bought my first baseball cap, he said on a Sunday afternoon in his home on Locust Street, period. Even after all these years, quote, I'm still obsessed with baseball caps. Boom, we're in it. We're in it. We're in it. And then we let it roll, 700 to 1,000 words, just like Betsy Buffo did. Right? Little background information from him, quote from him. You want to set up your quotes. Do not give me a question and answer session, okay? That doesn't take any skill and will fail. And I'll get that from students on occasion. I asked him this, he told me that. 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 F. All right? That doesn't take any skill. You take the quotes from the person and the background information that you get, and you once again interweave it all and write a profile. Much like an interview with an artist and that fine profile of Dr. Susan M. Love by Molly O'Neill from the New York Times. 2 women writers this time, all right? One, big-time journalist. Another one, English 1301 student. Betsy Buffo, interview with an artist. All right? Simple. So class, that's what you're going to do for me. So what I would suggest right now is you got to figure out, if you haven't figured out already, what you're going to do. Figure it out, set it up, nail it, get the interview done, or nail down a time when you can meet with your person. Maybe you could do it over Zoom. Fine. 10 questions, 1 hour. Maybe you do it in a coffee shop. Maybe at their home. I don't know. It's up for you to get. But I'm not trying to kill you with this assignment. This is a challenging assignment to do a good one. But I'm not here to murder you. This is a doable assignment. All right? So the question you have may be, well, I'm not quite sure what I want to do. Let me give you a bunch of examples. So one of the things you could think about is, I had a student today in class because I'm teaching hybrid, and she said, Mr. Welsh, I want to do my boss. I said, I already like it. Tell me about your boss. She said, well, I teach at a dancing studio. He's about 42 years old. He's an interesting guy. He's done a lot in life. He's been around a lot. And I think he'd make a fascinating profile. What do you think, Mr. Welsh? I said, I think so too. I'll prove it. Go do it. Right? Like it. Another student told me today, she said, a gentleman said, a friend of mine, a pretty good friend, just got back from Iraq. He's been an Army soldier for 10 years. Would that be a good profile? I said, absolutely. Soldiers are military folks, Marines, people work for the Navy, the Air Force, the U.S. Army. Fascinating profiles because we know that they've been through life and they've seen a lot and they've got good stories, right? Border Patrol agent, good. So class, in the homework, I already asked you to think about, what you may want to be doing or the assignments do. So now I'm going to tell you about some possibilities. You might want to think about, class, anybody with an interesting job. Now, what's an interesting job? Excuse me, a beekeeper. So anybody who keeps bees, and there's honey in El Paso, and there's honey out in Fabens, there's honey in Clint. There's honey, I see it sometimes when I go out the old border highway towards Mesilla. And I'm going into places like Canutillo. I'll see wild honey. Sit down with a beekeeper. Ask them about that. Ask them, to get them talking. One good question was, how did you get into the business? Have you ever been stung? What's the hardest part of your job? What's the easiest part of your job? Do you see you doing this job in 10 years? Where did you go to high school? Did you see yourself as a young person being a beekeeper? You can have that person talking with questions like that, class. How about a classic car restorer, someone that's working on cars? I'll never forget, one of my favorite profiles of all time is a woman came up to me. She's a woman in her 40s. She was taking my class, English 1301, about a decade ago. She goes, Mr. Welsh, I'm busy. I had a student tell me today I'm busy. I said, guess what? We're all busy, right? We're all busy. What are you doing with your time is always what you got to ask yourself. How do you manage time? So I understood she was busy. She was busy because she was raising 4 kids. And I said, "Oh, that's fine." And I understand. I'm busy too. I'm a father and I'm a professor and I'm a writer and, all these things. So I'm busy too. I know what it's like to be busy and a husband. Said, "Mr. Wells, I just think I want to interview my next door neighbor." I said, "That sounds good, but tell me about your next door neighbor." Said, "Mr. Wells, he's a lowrider. What do you think about that?" I said, "I like it." He said, "Why do you like it?" I said, "I like it. There's many reasons why I like it, but I also like it culturally because I grew up in a neighborhood with lowriders where I grew up in LA. And I actually had a buddy who had a lowrider. So I'd go cruising around Los Angeles in a lowrider. At times, not all the time, right? Culturally, it's cool. When the lowrider car shows come to El Paso, I've gone to them on occasion. I chat some of the lowriders up. But that made no difference. I know he's going to be interesting. And she wrote such a beautiful essay. I remember to this day. It was a 63 Impala with a soft top. It had been chopped. It had been louvered. It had Dayton's and Caden's. It had little blue lights underneath the wheel wells. I could see that car today. And in the essay, he told my student that he loved the lowrider, his lowrider more than anything else in the world, including his wife. But just a little bit more than his wife, because he loved his wife. Class is a fantastic piece of writing. That student did great in my class. Class, you could do a detective, police officer, border patrol agent, an auctioneer, a nun or a priest. Class. Talk to a priest. You're going to interview a priest. A question I'd start asking with him is, how hard is it to be married to God? Tell me about your relationship with God. Tell me how close you feel to the saints. Tell me what made you want to become a priest. What do you think of the bad rap that has happened out there sometimes for some priests being abusive? And then I'd ask a priest, tell me about the biggest spiritual experience you've ever had, if you've had one. What's the best part of your job? What's the worst part of your job? Class, a hard job. But anyway, the way I see it, a great job. Once again, yeah, however anyone sees it doesn't make any difference. But, we need priests. Or a minister. Or a nun. Or somebody who's had a spiritual experience. Class, how about a teacher you could go back and visit that maybe changed your life in high school? I hope everyone's had one good teacher. I've had a few. Some good ones that I can remember that helped me. Some I kind of remember. Some I know they helped me in some way. I had some middle school teachers who were good. Before things fell apart for me in high school, I had a couple of teachers that kind of changed the trajectory of my life or would years later. The university, the community college, the junior college where I went to, some fantastic professors at my community college, my junior college in Los Angeles and in the South Bay of Los Angeles, El Camino. Those professors there changed my life. And then some great professors at Cal State Long Beach. And then some good professors at UTEP when I went to graduate school. They've all helped me. Interview a teacher, class. How about a panhandler, street person? Be careful. Don't get yourself harmed. How about a mariachi musician? I love a good profile of a mariachi. The mariachi, to me, I see them as kings and queens, man. That's how I see them. El Rey, and La Reina, the king and the queen of the border. The The mariachi musicians, they're heavy. Class, how about a manager of a fast food restaurant? How about a florist? Somebody deals out with flowers all the time. How about a boat restorer? How about anyone prominent at a school? Heck, you could do anyone at the community college. Teacher, janitor, one of the people that work in the food place, clerk at the bookstore, administrator. Class, community college is a great place, EPCC. We changed a lot of lives there. It's a good place. Class, how about a judge, a newspaper reporter, a bishop? Class, a bartender, a bouncer, a disc jockey, stripper, male exotic dancer. All these people could be interviewed for an hour. Class, and then you could profile a place, but if you even say you do profile a place, you still have to talk to somebody for 1 hour to help bring that place alive. But the focus could be on the place. Where? Orphanage. Years ago, here's where some of you have advantages over me. I had a student go to Juarez and do an interview in Spanish for an orphanage. He got in somewhere where I couldn't get in. Okay? Because my Spanish isn't that good. It's okay. I mean, I can bust a few moves in Espanol. But necesitar mucho trabajar. I need work. Right? But my student was fluent, so I already saw him as a star, an estrella. My student was. Because he could rap in Espanol. So we went to this orphanage in Juarez and did the interview in Spanish, but wrote the essay in English. Essay in inglés. In English. It's a beautiful piece of writing. All right? Beautiful piece of writing. One time I had a student go to Orbita, a Juarez radio station, on a Friday night. Wrote a profile of the station, but focusing on one of the radio hosts. Beautiful piece of writing. Class, I still listen to that radio station today. I got an older car and kind of a newer car. The older car still's got the old school FM radio in it. So I'll listen to Orbita. In my old truck, when it's running, got an AM station, I'll listen to the Tejano and Norteño stations. I'll listen to La Poderosa. And, I trip and I let the Spanish language wash over me. I pick up some new words. And then sometimes, I get frustrated when people are talking too fast. But that's what it is. I'm out estudiante de español. I'm a student of Spanish. And that's what I just said in Spanish. And estudiante de inglés. I'm a student of English too. And a profesor de inglés. Of English. Professor of English. But no profesor de español. No, that's out of my realm. So, class, these are all things you could do. You go to a place, you interview someone. Tanning salon. Spend an hour with the manager or worker there. Ask them what's the wildest thing that's ever happened in the tanning salon. Spa. Gym. Go to the gym. Meet one of those people who works out every day. Interview them. Ask them why they're working out so much. Why can't they skip a day? Working out's good though, class. You can go to a gym, a pawn shop, a gun shop, a hospital, car wash, class, auto parts store. You go down to Alameda. I still love, I haven't been down to Alameda in, maybe a month. I like Alameda. I've taught at Valle Verde for a long time, class, in the lower valley of El Paso. There's days when, before the pandemic I'd need to get my head straight after teaching and before teaching at the college. I drive my car over to Rosedale, that neighborhood, and back to college. I park it, and I say, I'm going to go exercise, man. I'm going to take a walk. 30 minutes on Alameda, right? A lot of good scenes there, all those old used car lots. And then, what's cool is Riverside High is right there. Chilo's Radiator Service. Class, you could go over to Chilo's Radiator Service and interview Chilo. And then write me an essay. Car wash. Chilo's Radiator Service. Talk to a manager of a restaurant, or maybe even a waiter. I've been a waiter twice in my life, LA and Houston, trying to make some money. As a young man, trying to put some money in the pocket. I'm not rich. Didn't grow up rich. Didn't grow up with wealthy parents. Working class. Working class. It's all good class. You could interview a waiter. Somebody who works at a convent, a bakery. Talk to a baker. An auction house. Maybe somebody's at a blues club or at a museum. These are all things you could do for me, class. Or you could go to an activity, but even if you go to an activity, you're going to have to interview someone for an hour. Like maybe a Frisbee tournament. Interview who's putting it on. Poetry reading. Interview one of the poets. Rock climbing at Waco Tanks. Interview a rock climbing person. Class, with the pandemic on and COVID, you want to make sure you're socially distanced. You make sure you want to have a mask. You want to take care of yourself. I think it's a thing of respect. I just got the message from the president of El Paso Community College, Dr. William Serrata, the other day letting us know that, the mask mandates back on in the county of El Paso is a show of respect. So, and I'm teaching this hybrid thing where I teach some classes at the college, and college has been good about it. When I lecture in class, I'm wearing a mask. I don't have to wear a mask tonight because I'm talking to you over Zoom, or the hell am I going to post this to YouTube? Thing of respect, class. So that's where we are. So when you do this, in this pandemic, respect to where, even if, I'm double vaxxed, that's just my thing. I don't want to get into the politics of it. I clawed to get my vaccines. I'm ready for my booster. But, I don't want to get into that. And that's why even with that, I wear a mask because I'm trying to respect my brothers and sisters and my students. So when I lecture at the college, I lecture in a mask. A little uncomfortable sometimes, but I'm trying to help everyone. Class. So if you're going to do an interview, make sure that, you're socially distanced and you're safe, and, wherever you talk to a person, you talk to them. So class, those are some of the ideas. I gave you quite a few suggestions there, and they're fascinating. All right. That's a fascinating subject we're going to do. So have some fun with these. Write a draft. Get it to the writing center. 700 to 1,000 words. Get it to me on the 13th or the 13th or the 19th? No, it's the 21st. So let me see. For those classes, always go back, class, once again, to your course policies and calendar. I'd print it out if I were you, but once again, a lot of people just keep everything on Blackboard. That's cool. I print out everything. October 13th for those first two classes, and the other classes I talked about, we'll be hitting this up on the 19th. All right. So go back in. I got the deadlines here. It says here on the 19th, you'll hand in this finished draft of your writing profiles essay. And then on the 13th, you'll hand it in. Class with the new, once again, ways, that I talk about. First draft, final draft, writing center verification. And then class, just like with the memoirs, I will sit down and I will grade them, trying to help you. And then class, in the upcoming weeks, we'll have like a live Blackboard collaborative session. I'll send you a memo ahead of time, and during those sessions, you can ask me anything, right? I'll help you in any way. We can rap, we can talk about, once again, whatever we need to talk about. So, class, good luck with good luck with this assignment. Excuse me, got a few allergies, but I'm all right. And let's see. When I post this, it's going to be Thursday, Wednesday night or Thursday. I hope you all have a great weekend. Class, I'm hoping you and your families stay well. I'm hoping too that at the community college that you find what you're looking for. There's so much here. You find something that you want to be in life, if it's speaking to you, and then you go study that, and then you, class, you revolutionize your life. You revolutionize your life. And yeah, I want all of you to have a wonderful life. In class, it's a time where I believe in you. I believe in the future. Um, I believe in hope. I believe in hard work. I believe in success for all of you. All those things that I've had to do my whole life, and I'm still doing it. I'm still hitting it, class. I'm still hitting it. I'm like you. I'm trying to come up, trying to come up, right? So, I'm trying to come up, trying to better myself. It never ends. The journey of the student. Class, so with that said, have a great weekend. Be mindful of your time. Be mindful of these deadlines. And I'm wishing you well. And wow, some of the high schools are having homecoming this weekend, so maybe you'll be going back to a game. You could even get an interview with someone, like I said, at the old high school. My son's going to homecoming tomorrow. He's going to be a senior at El Paso High. Homecoming dance, homecoming game. Tonight's the eve of the E, where they light the big E at El Paso High. And I know all of you have special times. I love the El Paso High schools. Austin, La Jeff, El Paso High, Bowie, the pride of the South Side, Eastwood, Montwood, Clint, Horizon, Del Valle. I know I'm missing some. Burgess, Bel Air. There are a lot of high schools, man. It's all good. It's all good. Class, have a great weekend. Good luck with these essays. Have some fun. And I'll leave you as the Irish always leave people, or all the 4 times I've been in Ireland. The one time when I lived there, when I was, how old was I? 16. I spent the whole summer in Ireland. They always say, good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck. So I'm wishing you good luck, class. And we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.